Welcome to Mad Medicine with Miss P. I hope you don't hear the AC running behind me, but it is 100 degrees upstairs. I again made the huge mistake of first going into my daughter's room when I came upstairs to video. Why do I do it? Why don't I just burn the house down and start all over? She's horrific. Thank God she has straight A's, and she's generally a good kid because her room makes me want to jump out of her window. I can't. You wouldn't believe the things I just found in there. I have one rule: don't eat upstairs. Don't eat upstairs. That's my rule. Just don't eat upstairs. So all you have to do is just don't eat upstairs. Anyway, so I got some good stuff in the month of April while I was not filming. So we're just going to dive right in and see if I can't get in a better mood, because I'm trying not to drive straight to her school and yank her out of her classroom by her hair. So we're just gonna not do that. Okay, so patient charted, and I love that they can do this. I got some good stuff yesterday. Also, I wrote down. I love that they can write in their own stuff now, because it's one thing when they tell you, but when you actually see it in writing, it's even more fun. He had a left knee laparoscopy. Laparoscopy to the left knee. That's not a thing, but I know what he meant, so we're fine. My favorite was that they can type in their heart history, and it still stuns me. Even though it happens every day, it still floors me that people have no idea what's going on with their heart. It's one thing if you don't really understand how like the thyroid works, or nobody understands diabetes, but your heart, not only is it pretty simple, it's just an electrical pump with 4 chambers. That's about the run of it, but the things they type in there really get me. This patient charted that I was told I had angina. Somebody told them that they were having chest pain. They were told, hey buddy, do you realize right now you're having chest pain? Do you even feel it? Do you realize? Thank God someone told him. It could have gotten bad. Fortunately, some kind bystander, or maybe his cardiologist, told him that he was having angina. Another patient charted in for their surgery that I fixed my nose vein. They fixed my nose vein. The vein in your nose, it's all fixed now. He's good to go. They fixed his nose vein. I got nothing. I have no idea what that. I got nothing. I literally don't know what that. I want to have to question that one. Also, everybody thinks everything is done under sedation. Sedation is just when you're sedated, kind of in a sleepy state brought on by medication. If we were to begin cutting into your abdomen, you would wake up. You would respond. You would not be able to sit there and tolerate it. That's not sedation. If you think that you had a complete colectomy under sedation, and I know I talked about this last week, it's not that tricky to learn the difference between general anesthesia and monitored anesthesia care or sedation. It's not, they're not that tricky. They're very different, but they're not that tricky to understand. One patient said that the diabetic patient told me that their fasting blood sugar was 70, and they're not on any treatment because their A1C is 5. So they're more worried about having low blood sugar, but they also think they're diabetic. That's the opposite. If you have low blood sugar, you're not diabetic because you clearly have the insulin to pull that glucose out of your bloodstream and get into the cell for fuel. So that's not what diabetes is, like, at all. Not even a little. I don't know if that just means. Oh yes, okay. I don't know why I wrote down spironolactone, other than the fact that nobody knows what it means, how it works, or how to pronounce it. I should, usually I think like, oh, I'll remember. I don't remember this time, but I'm going to bet if I just say spironolactone, every nurse out there is nodding along because they know exactly what goes along with that. But anyway, this patient who has COPD says that it runs in their family, but then later upon questioning is also tells me he's a smoker. Okay, COPD can't run in your family. Most diseases, for that matter, and don't get me started on this, aren't necessarily hereditary, because then you would be born with it. So if heart disease runs in your family, then you're born with it. I mean, it's in your genes. So very few infants have heart disease. I mean, there are some that do, but chances are it's congenital for another reason. Very rarely is it because, well, his dad, died at, or his grandfather died at, 65 with heart disease, so this baby's born with heart disease. That's, the choices you made, chances are, caused most of your dis-ease, more likely. So I'm pretty sure that the fact that this patient has COPD is because he was a smoker. Smokers get COPD. You destroy your alveoli, leading to emphysema and your chronic bronchitis and asthma. That's COPD. It's not your mom's fault. You smoked. You have COPD. My mother died with COPD and lung cancer. I'm not going to have COPD. I've never smoked unless I start working in a factory or develop some bizarre disorder at almost 50. Probably not going to get COPD. Unless I keep living where I'm living, and the chemtrails kill us all. It's not, you don't have COPD because it runs in your family. You smoked cigarettes and you developed your own emphysema. God bless them. I don't know what that means either. Oh yeah, I do. Okay, so every time someone says they take metoprolol or metoprolol or any of those, I always think, I wonder if they think they're Batman. Do they think that because they're on metoprolol, like they're related or in Metropolis? Or do you think that not one single person can just take just a split second and see that there's no R next to that T? There's no R next to the T. There's no T in Alzheimer's. There's no double S in mastectomy. It just, all of you pronouncing these just crazy wrong is torture. And I'm sure I pronounce things wrong also, and I'm sure I torture others, but let me know. I will be willing to fix it. I don't say stuff like, well, that's how I pronounce it. Well, that's because you pronounce it wrong. Yeah, fix me, and I will be glad to fix it forever. But metoprolol, we can go on for days with that one. That's a given. Oh my gosh, that's right. I was on the phone with this patient. This was from a month ago, so I have to try to remember here. I was on this phone call for 24 minutes with the patient, and the entire time I'm on the phone for 24 minutes, I can hear their smoke alarm going off in the background. I'm not kidding. Like, I know what a smoke detector sounds like. It wasn't the TV. It was the smoke detector. The entire time I can hear it beeping in the background. 24 minutes. So clearly there wasn't a fire. We'd all should be dead by then. But 24 minutes I listened to a smoke detector beeping in the background. I think I even mentioned something like, "Hey, do you want to go get that?" And she's like, "What?" Well, it's not on my end. It's not our smoke detector here at the facility. We would know. 24 minutes. I don't know if this is a surgery people think they have, or if it's a medication they think they're on. CPAC, capital C, capital P, capital A, capital C. I think that is a political acronym for something, but I don't think it's a medication or surgery. And of all the Rotary cups I've gotten over the years, and I got one yesterday. I got a Rotor cup yesterday, and not only did he typed in Rotor cup, or maybe his daughter did, I can't remember, sweet older man, but then he told me on the phone he also had his Rotor cup. I said, "Which rotator cuff did you have repaired?" And he just said the left. I was really hoping he would say something like, "Oh, it's called a rotator cuff? Well, I'll make note of that." None of that happened. He just continued, I'm going to bet the rest of his life he's going to call it a Rotor cup. And he didn't even go the full rotary. He just stopped at Rotor. It's a Rotor cup. But this one patient charted that not only did they have a rotator cup, but they added an L in here, so it's a culp. The old rotary culp. That was a new one for me. I kind of enjoyed that. And also, do y'all know in general, I'm not sure if this is something I'm just notifying you of now, but having a child is not surgery. So when we ask you what surgery you've had in the past, childbirth is not surgery. Even if you have an episiotomy, that's still just like a repair. That's not surgery. Like a C-section, that's surgery. Childbirth, that's not, you can do that at home. It's not surgery. I don't recommend it, but you could. Not surgery. Okay, this is one of my favorites, and I'm not sure, being originally from South Florida, I'm assuming that when someone charged that they had a hernia, I had my hernia repaired, by my belly button, the hernia. Even though there is none of these letters in here, it's just a hernia. And a patient told me yesterday, and I don't know if I wrote this down, so I don't want to double tell you, even though I double tell you everything, because my mind is not as sharp as I'd like it to be. But this patient told me yesterday that she's gone through her surgeries, and she had to have a revision of her hernia after that. And I said, or she did, not that she used the word revision, she said they had to do it again. I said, oh, did you, re-herniate? She said, no, the first time they took it out, and then the next time they had to repair it. They first removed the hole in her muscle wall. They took that hole right out of there. She had a holeectomy. Then they repaired the hernia the second time. Okay, so let's say it together. A hernia is a tear or weakening in a muscle wall. It's not something that can be removed. It is repairable. So they repaired that, and then she re-herniated, or maybe had a lower one or additional one, or maybe they didn't put mesh in, or the mesh failed, or whatever. So I clarified it a little bit with her, but I try not to give them the whole spiel right over the phone. I didn't think I would ever give up, but I have. I've given up a little bit because it's tricky. It's a little, it hurts a little bit when you try to do that, and they don't understand, or they argue with you. God bless them. Also, I noticed that when I call up for a patient, this is this facility I'm calling for Bob Smith. Well, I'm his wife. Congratulations, Mrs. Smith. Is Bob there? I still have to talk to him. He's a patient. Just because you are an overbearing, demasculating shrill of a woman does not mean that you get to talk for your husband. He is a grown-ass adult man. Can I please speak to your 65-year-old husband, please? He is the patient. He is having surgery. He's coming back alone. He is signing his forms by himself. You are going to be in the waiting room. I need to speak to this adult before he has surgery so I can go over his health history with him. Well, I handle those things for him. Oh no, I can tell. I can tell you're an absolute controlling, god-awful nightmare to work with. I already feel bad for this man. I get that you control everything. May I please speak to him? Well, he's at work right now. Okay, couldn't you just told me that in the beginning? Like, couldn't that have been your opening line? No, he's not here right now. Can I take a message? Okay, is there another number I can reach him? Well, he's just going to tell you to talk to me. Okay, well, that's fine. And if I hear it from him, then God help me, I will call you back and I will go through the whole thing with you. Or they are there. The husband's there with him. And she says, well, I usually handle things for him. Or let's say he's hard of hearing. Okay, I'm going to give her that. Or, God forbid, if he does have some, dementia, a little bit of, loss of memory or anything, that's a different story. Then I kind of try to verify a couple things with him, just who's his doctor, what's he having done, and, what time did they tell him to be here, which day, just so we have kind of the basics. Then I'll get everything from him. Then the next 30 minutes of the conversation goes like this. Okay, and what kind of surgery has he had in the past? Okay. Hey, Bob, what surgery have you had in the past? I'm like, oh my God, okay. If we're going to do this, I ask you, you ask him, he tells you, you tell me. Can I just talk to him? Because you're not talking any louder to him than I could on the phone. I could cup it. I'm a married woman. I can scream at a man better than anybody else. Just give the phone to him. And then we proceed to do this like telephone thing back and forth. And then like she's telling him something. He's like, no, that was 1964. I didn't have that until 72. You got the date. Oh my gosh, can I just speak to him? And then it's this long nightmare of going on and just really what seems like eternity, while this person is just making things so much worse than they have to, and I don't know why they do it, but God help me, it is torture. Sweet people, they're nice people. I don't ever and then they always say something like, well, you've been so patient, or thank you so much, or you answered all my questions. They're always nice people. Just this is the whole point, is that if we can all vent to each other about the torture that it is dealing with the public, and it's hard, especially with medicine, because it really matters. I mean, if you're a financial advisor or you're doing homeowners insurance or car insurance, these are things that need to be correct. They need to be on top of it, and they need to be factual, and you need to be talking to somebody that knows what they're talking about. And when your medical history, what's more important, right? So it's just tricky. We're not busting on anybody. It's just one of those things that happen, and sometimes it's a little more torturous than others. Like my coworker on the phone for an hour and 4 minutes for a person coming in to have an epidural. The procedure was about 6 minutes from start to finish. We were in that room maybe 8 minutes, because it took her a good long time to roll over onto the table, which, it does. People have back pain. It takes them a long time. I really just want to kind of grab them and yank them over, but they don't like that, so don't do that. But maybe 8 minutes we were in the room. And this coworker got her life story an hour and 4 minutes. And we're kind of like, back to back in our chairs, kind of catty corner. And I'm looking over at her, and she's just got this, I want to die look on my face. But she hasn't done it long enough to really know how to just like shut them down. You just you just got to draw the reins up, get them real tucked in there, and just kind of control the conversation. And, she doesn't ride, so she doesn't know how to do that. But she'll get there, and she's also too sweet. I don't have that problem. I can just cut it right off, because I have, 400 other people to call today. I cannot spend an hour on the phone with one person. I can't. I can't. I'll kill myself. Okay, so that's it. And I'm going to learn how to do a short. I'm going to try to do one real quickly. I don't know what specific thing I'm going to do, but I'm going to try to do a quick short and see how that works. So if it does, spread it around, watch it, share it, like it, whatever you're supposed to do. I don't know. I just watched True Crime, which, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot to tell you this. Another true crime. I had to stop it. I stopped it in its tracks. I sent a comment, and then I watched something else. Again, a patient having, ironically, a laparoscopy. He's telling the story about how she was awake for the whole thing. I'm not saying people can't wake up during anesthesia or have those issues. And I'm not saying that, during a paralytic that you couldn't be like aware of things, but I don't know how long they think a paralytic lasts. Like if ever you've noticed, if ever you've been in an induction, they they hyperventilate, they shoot the paralytic, or vice versa. It's been a long time since I've been standing next to an anesthesiologist in an OR. But if I remember correctly from 100 years ago, you kind of, hyperventilate a little bit as they're, kind of sedated. Then you give them the paralytic because you're getting ready to intubate. So before you intubate, they have to be paralyzed, or they're going to buck on the tube and, wake up and panic and that sort of thing. So that's just it. So if they're paralyzed and they have a tube in their throat, but they don't feel it or react to it, but they can feel everything else, just no to all of that. I believe in out-of-body experiences. I believe that, there's an awakening kind of sensation where you could be like asleep and still aware, like I believe in a whole bunch of stuff. And lately, since 2019, I believe in a whole lot of stuff I never thought I would believe in. Like a lot of stuff that I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to say okay, because you can't comprehend the last 3 years. It's just been a dumpster fire of a time period. So that's that. But this particular situation, just like the last one, they were both very similar. Like she's awake and when she's moving her foot, but she's paralyzed at the same time. So her heart rate, she says her heart rate is thumping out of her chest, but the machine can only control so many beats per minute. So the anesthesiologist isn't noticing. That's not a thing at all. Like none of that. And then, the ventilator's only giving her so many breaths. So she feels like she's suffocating because she wants to, breathe faster. I'm like, yes, but no, also. And the guy telling the story is like believing everything. He's like really into it. I'm like, yeah, you're missing some stuff. Even if something like that did happen, you're missing lots of stuff. And then the other things you're throwing in, no, she can move her foot, but she's not going to respond to she's not going to buck on the tube. I just can't. I can't the whole thing. Anyway, so I got to get out of here. I'm going to try to do a short. If I can figure out how to do that, we'll see. If you see it, say hey, shoot me a comment, whatever. Otherwise, face your fears, forget your failures, follow your faith, and we'll see how this goes. Look out for me, gang.